who is known for some last-minute charges. Watch out for her. She could be quick. Linda Luke-Schneider as well in 5th, with Adela Ostriklova down in 6th place, with Rosalia Janora in 7th, and Anna Burke from the USA in 8th. And then further back, we do, of course, have Dinara Ibrahimova as well. So now the runners getting set for the race to get underway after a wonderful start to the afternoon session in Heat 3. With the elite class, we're now going to be watching the women take to the water with a 3-time world champion, 3-time European champion in Eliska Matuskova, who's going to be watching and waiting, hoping for another decent result. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, she cleaned up back at the Fujira GP, but so did Anna Strukalova, who we will be seeing in Group B later on, as we now watch the riders make their way around the course to get preparation under full swing. But, we do have Emma Strukalova to keep an eye on as well. She is a 2023 world champion. Of course, could be a thorn in the side for Eliska Matuskova in her own right. But they'll be undertaking, of course, in the process of this particular heat, the 7 laps and 2 long laps. So just one less than the elite category that we just witnessed. This is a highly competitive encounter for sure, with some very capable riders in amongst this conglomerate, including the likes of Emma Strukalova, who will be watching on, looking for a big opportunity to challenge Eliska Matuskova. As they now get ready to line up, of course, Eliska Matuskova is now going to get them into position, where we have Luka Zahorsky in the elite category. Obviously, Eliska Matuskova, very much the Luka Zahorsky of the women's classification. Of course, quite the talent, obviously representing the Czech Republic, much like Zahorsky as well. She's going to be looking to add to yet already an accomplished array of numbers that she's managed to raft together. Obviously, we can talk about the last stint at Fujira, where she managed to muscle in 3 victories in the final 3 races, and on top of that, winning Heat 1, but she had to forfeit one of them as part of the drop of 1 result rule as part of the championship. But still, it was a perfect visit to Fujira, and obviously looking to get ready for the final that will turn up tomorrow. But in order to achieve that final qualification, they will, of course, need to qualify. That's exactly what they'll have on their mind, as now Eliska Matuskova tries to get all the other runners along with her into formation, as they now come up through the top right-hand part of the course. And very soon they will go down the back straight before turning the boards around. And the marshals will then give the word on when they can get going at full pelt in towards the first buoy on the course, as they now to begin to line up. You've got Emma Strukalova there in yellow in the 3rd place position. That's another one to watch out for, as we've said. The 2023 world champion. In between them, Zara Zubrova, who's already proven that she can win as well. Very similar colouring in terms of the top shirts worn by both riders at the front 2 places on the order. Both blazed in pink. See Zara Zubrova representing Motoshop Zubor on the number 66 board. So now they come through the next left-hander before they undertake the long straight. Just getting themselves set. They'll try and creep low in order to ensure they're packing some immense straight-line speed. Here we go. They look nicely lined up there. Lovely view of the competitors now making their way up towards the line. Who's going to win the first tussle as now surfs up here in the women's Group A here in Heat 3. And it's a great start for Eliska Matuskova. There's side by side here as well with Emma Strukalova and Elisabetta fights over, as well as they look to battle over those top 4 places coming through now the first segment, and a very tight inside curve taken this time by Strukalova, trying to hold position here as they make their way through the slalom. No gaps between the front 2 either. Eliska Matuskova may lead the way, But take a look at this. Zara Zubarova is still very much there as they come through the final corners, and we'll see who's going to lead coming through the final gates. It will be our number one sitter, Eliska Matuskova. Zara Zubarova making her way through with Emma Strukalova as well in third. Elizabeta Fajtova further back, who has not managed to secure that third place on this order right now, with Linda Luke-Schneider further back, with Adela Ostralikova then further back in sixth place as they now come through the first segment. And it is still, at the moment, Matuskova who leads the way. We got Zara Zubarova currently sat in that second spot, waiting for every opportunity, just tracking the lead runner at the moment as they head down towards the final point on the course before they then head top side and then down towards the slalom very soon. Still the front two, you can't separate them. And full commitment to the boards as well. Having to deal with the dirty wash as well is Zara Zubarova. There's lots of it coming off the back of Eliska Matuskova's board, just making it a little bit difficult for Zubarova to find some good purchase out here on the water. And indeed, it's enabled Eliska to start growing somewhat of a gap. But Zubarova not giving up by any means, as Emma Strukalova will come across the line to confirm third place again as she crosses it. And now will be the thought processes of when do we take the long lap. And obviously Eliska Matuskova will keep her eyes peeled on her to see whether she opts for the jump. And will we see Zubarova respond or leave it a lap later just so she can, leave it to the very last minute. By the looks of it, we could yet see maybe at least one. Let's keep our eyes peeled. No arm raised just yet. Looks like Matuskova might have raised hers. As they now, yes, she has. Eliska Matuskova now taking the long lap here on this next time of asking. So let's see if Zubarova responds on her next run around the course. She's not the only one to take it, either is Matuskova. Plenty of others also opting for the same strategy as they come through. Very warm conditions here at Cheshire. We've been recording consistent temperatures between 29 to 32 degrees, making the experience more testing than ever for these riders on their boards right now. As Zubarova makes her way down towards the final corner now and looks to begin the next lap. This is, of course, Eliska Matuskova, of course, the original pole sitter, who's going to be looking to rubber stamp her way back to the top once again to add yet another heat under her belt. And we'll soon see if Zubarova actually does opt for the long lap at some point. Just getting so tight to the water, a slight mistake there, I think, from Matuskova. There right now, there is Zubarova, and she's taking the long lap this time, so does indeed respond. Needs to as well. Remember, they've got to fit 2 of these laps in, the long laps, in amongst the 7 that they are going to be completing through the course of this race. As they now peel through the S-bends now coming through the slalom. And this is our original race leader, Eliska Matuskova, who's now going to retake a place ahead of Zubarova at the moment. And we'll see where Elizabeta Fajtova has ended up as well. But it looks like that this could be Matuskova retaking the lead back here at this point, having already undertaken the long lap. And yes, that is absolutely spot on. Zubarova into second place ahead of Elizabeta Fajtova, who's obviously already taken, or just taken her long lap as well. They now rush through the slalom once again. It looks like we're seeing another breakaway for the lead lap further up. As we now watch as the runners once again peel off now. We're going to see another long lap taken again. No, not quite. As our leader carries on through towards the slalom. Coming through towards the lefts and rights. Weaving through the course with only a few corners left to take before they cross the line. Just witnessed as well the number 5 of Linda Luke-Schneider as well crossing the line to begin her next lap. And Eliska Matuskova now beginning her next lap as well, coming through the first sector, weaving through the left and right boards, much like the same Zara Zubarova. Giving chase after Matuskova at the moment. We'll soon see whether there will be any further twists prior to the end, as MotoSurf often provides. As we now watch them come through the last stage on this lap, and Zubarova still giving chase after our race leader Matuskova at the moment. And it looks like we could be seeing a long lap taken again here, this time by Zubarova. So whether Matuskova is going to do one last long lap towards the final lap of asking. When the white flag comes out, we'll soon find out. Here comes Matuskova now, lead of the race so far, coming through the final corner. Now weaving through the boys as she now looks to once again further her position at the top of the order. There's the number 2 belonging to Zubarova. Just consistently weaving through the boards, no issues with the boys so far. The big test will see where they come out towards the final closing stages of this race. The white flag is now out as we watch them undertake the course this time around. Zubarova making her way through, and this is the long lap being taken by Matuskova, so it's going to be very tight now between our two front runners. As now Matuskova rejoins the field, and I think that will be still the race lead advantage here at this stage. So Eliska Matuskova looking to bring this home in indomitable fashion. She has been absolutely sensational through the course of this race, and Zubarova is doing her best to try and close the gap. But the best might not be quite good enough, as our race leader, who began on top, she will remain on top. It's Eliska Matuskova who wins the women's heat 3 here in Group A. A stunning performance. And it'll be Zara Zubarova who will come across the line in second, with Emma Strukalova coming across the line in third place. But a magnificent performance from Eliska Matuskova to take victory in Heat 3. And that is their day done. Of course, they'll be moving through to Heat 4, which will be coming up tomorrow. And a magnificent performance, and will set the tone, of course, for tomorrow's action, where they'll look to qualify for the finals. We'll run you through the results. Eliska Matuskova, your winner here. The Czech has won again, with Zara Zubarova in second place, Emma Strukalova in third, then Adela Ostrilikova in fourth, then Linda Luchschneider in fifth, Elizabeta Vajtova in sixth, Rosalia Janora in seventh, with Anna Burke in eighth, United States, Dinara Ibrahimova in ninth spot. So those confirm the results from the Heat 3, and that's Group A done and dusted. We move on now to Group B, where the runners will then make their way out on their jet surf boards. And we're going to be witnessing the return of Anita Strukalova to the order. Of course, came off the back of Fajira, level on points with Eliska Matuskova. And Mariana Navarova will be with her as well. Of course, Navarova, a third in the World Championship, came her way in 2023, but also a World Champion in 2022, winning the European Championship in that same year. Very accomplished. But should be looking to bring her very best again this time. Various others also looking to become competitive. Obviously, the boards being used today are only the Jet Surf Race DFI boards. The 2021 models to 2025, so they're all used in the same category out on the water for this session. And of course, again, 7 laps will present themselves to the riders, with 2 long laps also to be taken, as well as we take a look in Parc Fermé as the riders from the Group A stint now head back to the paddock. They will get to work to prepare their boards, I'm sure, for tomorrow. Obviously, we'll review the races they've done today, and I'd imagine there'll be a few conversations with the respective teams. As we now watch them come on in. Obviously, coming in as well is the number 4 of Elizabeta Vajtova, who's been also largely impressive today as well. Some decent performances in the earlier heats. It's all calm out on the water at the moment. The wind has definitely picked up this afternoon. We're witnessing a little bit more chop out there, which again will make things rather testing for the riders. You can see the wind really hustling. It was definitely a lot stronger than it was this morning. And this is something we were anticipating through the course of the weekend, which was actually speaking to Mike Michaelidis and also his connections yesterday after an impressive start to his weekend through the course of qualifying. Of course, representing Cyprus, and they were alluding to the fact that there was a likely chance that we would see some increase in wind speed, which just increases the level of chop that you generally see out on the water. So that then intensifies the need for, or to find the balance out there on the circuit. So we take a look at the engine technology that's on offer, obviously in the jet surfboards. This is the DFI, of course, the machinery that they often use here in this category. Obviously, between the years of 2021 to 2025, these two-stroke engine boards. So now we take you through the starting grid for the third heat in Group B. Anita Strukalova will be starting from first place with Mariana Navarova in second, Laura Markova in third, Valentina Novotna in fourth place, Barbara Kolarova in fifth, Liu Jin in sixth with Sara Fulvova in seventh, then Polina Karpova in eighth, and next up comes Melody Kaptanoglu down in ninth place for Türkiye. So now as the runners head out on to the water, we'll then get this next group underway. This, of course, being Group B here in Heat 3 of the women's. The big question is, can anyone stop Anita Strukalova, who has been absolutely phenomenal in the women's category, representing Matek Racing out on the course in the number 79 jersey. Of course, for this, she'll be donning the number 1 shorts for being on pole position to kickstart this race. We'll have a vast collective of other runners that will be joining her as well, including the likes of Laura Markova alongside Mariana Navarova, who's going to be, I'm sure, on hand to give Strukalova some fight indeed for maximum points. Obviously, we can look back at the previous results from when we went racing back at the UAE, of course, at the Fujairah GP. Of course, we do have 2 further GPs coming up later in the season as well, folks. We're going to be heading to Italy for the one later. Of course, that will be for round 3 at Manfredonia, and that's the 3rd to the 5th of October, with Zadar, Croatia, rounding off our campaign for our 4th round on the 10th to the 12th of October, as well as our lead runners now prepare for the start. Anita Strukalova, 4 victories back at Fujairah. Of course, only 3 of them counting just due to the nature of how the championship works. 4th in qualifying. She's got a slight degree better than that this time, and now starting on P1 ahead of Heat 3. We'll watch them get underway. This time around, they're going to wait for the marshal to give the necessary flag. And it looks like they're going round again, as being signalled by Anita Strukalova. So the marshal indicating he wasn't happy with the formation from the runners to open up the category. So they're going to have to go round again to get set for another go at it. So Anita Strukalova will usher them back in together as they go to the far left, as we're looking at it on the shore side, out to the sea, which is centred just on the Aegean coast, Aegean Sea. And we're currently parked 85 kilometres away from the city of Izmir region, of course. As we now watch them settle down into another line formation with the V on offer. You just see the 3 runners just in behind, just getting ready to go. Sara Vulfova, as well as Polina Karpova and Melody Kaptanoglu. It's all on Anita Strukalova now, and surfs up here in Group B in the women's category. Great start here from Strukalova, who's coming through turn 1, still with the lead at the moment, and Navarova also holding position as well. She was under attack from both Laura Markova and Valentina Novotna by extension, as well, as they now peel through the first sector. Very, very strong start here for Strukalova now, who's starting to peel away and winding through the boards now, weaving as they go through each of the yellow and red boys. Full commitment from all riders so far, but nothing more than Strukalova so far. Of course, the woman who started on top ahead of the start of the race now, finishes the first lap, and it looks like Markova has moved into second as they now peel on through. And must say, Valentina Novotná also coming under pressure further back as well, as we now watch the number 5 of Barbara Kolarova make her way around the circuit as well. Now they're coming up to the top of the course before they finish their next lap, and indeed just skimming along the top of the water, but plenty of dirty water to deal with as well. That wash is just not helpful at times. There's Maria Navarova, who's lifted her arm up, so she will be taking the long lap here in this time of asking. Navarova down in third at the moment, after losing out to Laura Markova, who had the jump coming through the first corner. We did note that actually earlier on, that Markova had a fantastic start, was leaping up from third place and now up into second. And she'll stay there as well, with Navarova now coming into her long lap, but obviously that leaves it down to the others to come across and do theirs as Markova peels through the first and second boys. Now will we see Strikalova now take the long lap here in this moment? There's Navarova weaving through the boys once more and coming down in towards the slalom. Yet another occasion now as we watch them weave their way through. We have of course got the long lap being undertaken elsewhere as well. This is our current leader, Anita Strikalova, who is now taking the long lap and now racing through towards the black gates to close the long lap for now, and being met also by Laura Markova, who has opted for a similar strategy, just to come in at the same time. So covering off Strukalova's attempts to get perhaps a strategical advantage through the long lap. Now we watch them peel through once more. Across the line, we've just seen Barbara Kolarova make her way through, is now riding the final turn. Through comes Anita Strikalova to begin yet another lap. She now peels through the first of the boys. Boy number 2 as well, the multi-champion, giving us a show as always. Now coming through the next right-hander, and the water settling down nice and easily for her at the moment. Barbara Kolarova at the moment leading, but obviously we're given the long lap nature, we would expect for Strikalova to very quickly take that lead back. Currently sat second in our timing screen right now, which will of course change as the long laps are indeed taken. Coming through the wash, actually catching up with the runner in front at the moment. So now she comes down in towards the slalom portion of the course. So Strikalova looking really strong right now, quite the gap in between her and also Laura Markova at the moment, but obviously could be dependent on her second long lap. We'll keep an eye on her to see, and she's just taken a tighter line than what we saw from the runners in front of her. Just looking for that cleaner water, just to give herself the pace as Liu Jin makes her way around. There's quite a conglomerate of riders now coming through this portion of track, so this could complicate things just a little bit, but no complication for our, what we believe to be our net race leader. Strikalova now weaves in and out of the boys once more through the back end of the course. It's now the number 4 of Valentina Novotná now comes through. Novotná beginning her next lap, but obviously still a ways off the lead advantage. Barbara Kolarova still out in front. Valentina Novotná, who we're currently seeing on screen as well, just making her way around the boys on the white and gold board. Obviously this group brings the end to the women classification for today in Heat 3. Next up will be Heat 4 tomorrow. So we now watch them make their way through once more. There is Anita Strikalova out in front, now coming through the slalom section. Once again, won't be far away from the white flag. They'll be entering the final lap, that's for sure. So now they come through the final corners. Number 3 there of Laura Markova, who's currently sat in 2nd place. Trying to chase down Anita Strukalova at this time. So we now see the white flag out on track. So now, last lap's being undertaken here. So they come through the first sector. There is Strukalova. And through the red bollard as well. Now, does she take the long lap here? This time, yes, she does. The hand is raised. So here we go. Anita Strukalova heading out onto the long lap. And this is where we'll see where Laura Markova will come out in all of this. We have seen a rider go down, it seems. Not quite sure who that was, as now we see Anita Strukalova now making her way around the yellow marked black buoy. And now around the rounded buoys as well. Looks like Strukalova's got this one in hand as she rounds the yellow buoy so far. Really, really strong performance here from Anita Strukalova. And they'll be coming through the slalom before the start-finish line. A stunning display. And talk about clinical. That's exactly what Anita Strukalova is certainly. And now crossing around the final buoy up towards the line. It's victory for Anita Strukalova here in Heat 3. Fantastic performance. And number 3, Laura Markova, finishing in 2nd place. Fantastic effort on her part as well. She did her best to try and counteract the long lap phase. Through past the start-finish line comes Mariana Navarova as well. But it's Anita Strukalova who could not be caught today. Your race winner in Heat 3 in Group B. And rubber stamping her raw talent once again on this field. And that's our results confirmed. Anita Strukalova, your winner here at Cheshire. Also delighted to say that we are, in fact, joined as we have a look at the results. Anita Strukalova, your winner. Laura Markova in 2nd place. Mariana Navarova then further back as well. But I'm delighted to say that Matej Kozicek is back with me as well. Winner for the 2nd time today in elite class. So Horsky may have got you in the race before, but you got him back.
Hello to all the viewers. Good to be back. Now my mic is working. Great.
Yeah, we got you back.
Hello to all the viewers once again. I mean, Heat 3 was incredible. It was super difficult. It was a tough battle with Lucas, but it was so fun. I enjoyed it very much. And that last exit from the long lap was super close. That was.
It came down to the final buoy, right?
Yeah, it did. And I mean, because at the beginning, I should say, not really at the beginning, but a few turns after the start of the lap, there's the exit from the long lap. And all the way from the exit from the long lap, we carried out battle all the way to the last buoy, where I finished like half a meter in front of Lucas.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Yeah, Lucas is a super tough opponent, but I'm delighted, that I won that race in the end.
You got the better of him right towards the bitter end. I mean, that just goes to show how crucial these long laps are, isn't it? And when you take them, and obviously trying to cover off your opponent. But you two were fairly evenly matched, I think we saw from that.
Yeah. We were evenly matched. Lucas didn't get the greatest of starts, so he caught up. Then at the end, at the final stint that he had before the long lap. I managed 2 laps before the end. I managed to break my back pad, but luckily it stayed on. But Brilliant. It was really uncomfortable the last 2 laps. I couldn't really push that much into the front sides.
So tell us what the significance of losing that back pad is.
Oh, I mean, you just don't have the stability. If it breaks off, it's actually, I'd say that it's worse to lose, or it 100% is worse to lose the front side pad than the back side pad. Because without the front side, you can't even properly manage your pace in the track. But the back side pad, you can still kind of like go quite fast.
Yeah.
But it's just really uncomfortable. You don't have that control, that 100% control over the board, and it just doesn't feel really good with a broken pad. So, but luckily, I pushed even throughout that, and somehow I managed to stay in front of Lucas. So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it was a pretty special result, I have to say. And now we're going to be moving through to the stock category now. And a lot of these riders that you're touting for future elite status, I mean, basically. And we're talking about guys like Hassan Bouabas, so I must say, phenomenal day he's having.
Yeah, Hassan has had a brilliant race. I mean, he did the fastest lap, he did pole in qualifying, and he's carried that form throughout the races over here. So, yeah, he's definitely one of the contenders for the win tomorrow in the stock class.
Yeah, and obviously Kim Min-sung, also a rare mistake earlier on coming off the board, and he dropped right down the order. I mean, again, this is an opportunity for him to basically bounce back after what we saw in the race earlier today.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, one of the heats doesn't count. You cross off one result.
Correct.
So only 3 counts towards the final. So you know, it obviously it can happen that Kim didn't get the best results in one of his races, but he should just stay focused and get a good result in heat number 4, and he can still have a really good starting place in the final. Yeah,
Mate, tell us about the conditions as well, because it definitely feels this afternoon, I'm not sure whether you agree with me, but the wind feels like it's picking up a little bit out there.
Oh, it certainly did. I think we all felt it in the 3rd heat. It was very different compared to heat number 1 and 2. The wind picked up, and back in the slalom section, in the split over there, you could just feel the wind tossing your board from left to right. You could really feel it on the front end of the board, that it just couldn't quite stick into the turn, and it wouldn't just stay there. It was bouncing around quite a lot, so it was difficult. But you have to always adjust to the conditions on the racetrack.
Yeah, of course. I mean, naturally, that's what makes a great rider. Let's take you through the starting positions for the first of the next group, the stock class. Hassan Bouabas starting first with Kim Min-sung in second. We had Adam Janusek in third with Damien Kadlec fourth. Miroslav Kops in fifth. We then, of course, have Jan Matoska in sixth with Vladimir Andel, and next David Kircher in 8th place as well. Fares Ramadan, who moves up from the juniors class, of course, was competing in juniors, actually winning the title a couple of years ago, starting 9th. Lorenzo Tanda from Italy in that A position. That'll be position 10, with Mauricio Liam as well starting in the B spot, down just in behind the front runners. So a highly competitive group now about to take to the field. Matti, what do you make of this one?
I really like the lineup. I think it's going to be a fantastic race, not only up front in the stock category, but I must say that even in the stock R group, this group is stacked. We got David, we got Fares, probably one of the fastest guys in stock R currently, and they're joined by Lorenzo Tanda, a super talented young Italian who's also we can now see him on screen riding, testing out the track before he goes. A super talented young dude who is going to do some amazing stuff in the World Cup if he continues.
Yeah, and speaking of Fares as well, one of the young talents to come through out of the junior class, is obviously winning the title there a couple of years ago. How long did it take to really find your feet after moving out of juniors into stock class racing? Because the competitive level rises, doesn't it?
Yeah, it always does. But I moved up actually from the juniors category to stock category alongside Alex Lukscheider and Mateusz Nowotny. We went the same season. So I must say that for me it was harder to adjust from stock to elite rather than to adjust from juniors to stock.
Wow.
I don't know why. I mean,
was it a mental thing, like almost like you're at the precipice of the sport, and obviously against, we speak about Lucas Zahorsky, obviously to race against someone like that is what dreams are made of in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, he came after me after this race, and he told me that he was surprised, that I didn't make any mistakes, that he was pushing, and he
that
thought,
was him wishing you did.
Yeah. he said I thought I was pushing you there for like 5 laps. I thought you're gonna make a mistake somewhere, but
you didn't. Fantastic.
I fortunately did not.
No, you didn't. You had the upper hand on him. It was a fantastic moment. I was watching you both come around the final buoy. It was fantastic to watch. But
thank you.
No problem. Well, we're now going to move on and see whether someone else can pull off the same or similar antics now as we look to get the stock class underway here for Heat 3 this afternoon. It's Hassan Bouabas who will be taking them along, and he has been so consistent right through the weekend so far, as now surfs up here in Group A in stock class here in Heat 3, and it's Hassan Bouabas consolidating that lead right at the very top. Kim Min-sung also getting a decent start further back side by side with Adam Janusek and Damien Kadlec here, Mate.
Yeah, I mean, Adam is on the inside right now. He's looking to take that inside route. He takes the same split as did Kim Min-sung and Hassan, and oh my god,
I think we lost one.
I think that's Damien Kadlec. who just fell into the water, I believe. We'll have to check. As Hassan Bouabas still in the lead, followed closely by Kim Min-sung, and then we've got it's Adam Janoschek. So unfortunately that fall was Damian Kadlec, then followed by David Krčka, Miroslav Kops, and yeah, but luckily he got, I think that was Fares actually.
Yeah,
I think that was Fares Ramadan who fell into the water.
Yeah, it looked like it. We just saw them coming through, didn't we, through the slalom, and just someone made a little error, a little slip coming through towards the first buoy in that slalom. But yeah, truly an upset on their part. But Hassan Bouabas showing no signs of stopping, and Kim Min-sung now taking the long lap.
Yeah. So Hassan now, he's going to see that. And maybe he'll try to cover him up. Depends on his confidence. You know, if he thinks that he's faster than Kim Min-sung on clear water, and if he wants to push forward and not take the long lap, then he'll do that. And unfortunately, it looks like Damian Kadlec is retiring from the race. He's on the shore. He's going back to Parc Fermé. So that is going to be a DNF for Damian Kadlec, unfortunately. Yeah,
that's a real rough spot. You can just see there in blurred out on our timing screen on the left-hand side. So that'll be the last we see of Damian Kadlec today. That's a real shame, as Hassan Bouabas continues out in front. Still yet to take the long lap, but we have already seen Kim Min-sung take it, and now he's dropped as a consequence down through the order. We're now seeing our front runners come through. Lorenzo Tanda now up into 5th as a consequence of the long laps being taken.
And Hassan Bouabas is now currently taking the long lap,
He is
going to cover up Kim Min-sung. We're going to see how tight it is going to be on the exit of the long lap. And it is going to be very tight, and I believe that Kim Min-sung is ahead of Hassan Bouabas. So what a fantastic, actually, no, that is Lorenzo Tanda, I believe. So it looks like Kim Min-sung is still behind.
Yeah, I don't think at the moment that Lorenzo Tanda has quite come in. Of course, he shot up to P5 in our timing screen. We will, of course, update you folks when we see the numbers come across, but it does look like it is Lorenzo Tanda, of course, who started from the A spot, just in behind the front runners. But I must say, Hassan Bouabas, a very accomplished run so far. Obviously, still be wary. Kim Min-sung, I'm sure, will be doing a late charge. It might be the case. He's just done back-to-back long laps.
Kim Min-sung, no, he actually, I think he went into traffic because he's right there, and for some reason he's in front of Adam Janoschek, but it's quite a while. Yeah. It's quite a gap that Hassan has built, so maybe either Hassan did just a really great lap, or Kim Min-sung must have made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah. And obviously we're now seeing the effects of the wash now further back as we watch as Adam Janoschek there in second place peels through the boys. Again, with the combination of the wind and the highly volatile spray coming off the back of the board that's in front of you, it just creates so much of an unsettling motion for you to ride on.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. And that's why, for example, here in the third heat, we can see a trend that riders are starting to pick the outside slalom part, the right side of the slalom more. Because the wind there isn't as bad as in the inside route. So
is that the objective motion you take? You know, when you look at which side you want to take?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things going there, and it looks like.
Oh, that's Janoschek.
Oh, that's Janoschek, and I don't know what he did there, but it looks like he turned. That could be a disqualification headed Adam Janoschek's way, because unfortunately he did turn back into the wrong direction. We don't know what the reason was. If it was that he was trying to avoid something, then that is completely fine. But unfortunately, if that's not the case, then I believe that could be a penalty or a disqualification heading Adam Janoschek's way.
Just goes to show what mistakes can cost you, I suppose, making your way through the race. And unfortunately for Adam Janoschek, he could be on the wrong side of that one, as we now watch him take the long lap.
Yeah, we'll see what the stewards think of that, and what they will decide. Maybe there was a reason that Adam Janoschek had to do that. And certainly, let's hope so.
Yeah, well, hopefully for his sake, that will be the case as we now watch as Hassan Bouabas, who still holds on to the race lead for now, is trying to close down and run past these back markers. And obviously it does cause, a little bit of concern when you're currently stuck behind a front runner that isn't perhaps going as fast as you would like, especially when we're factoring in long laps and things of that nature. Speaking of which, Hassan Bouabas now making his way around the long lap now.
So now we'll get to see if Kim Min-sung has taken the long lap, or if it'll be close, and if Hassan is trying to cover him off. And oh my God, that is a crash! That is a crash, and that was Hassan Bobas colliding with Kim Min-sung on the exit
My goodness.
of the long lap. So it was very tight between those two, but it looked as they collided, and that is certainly another thing that the stewards will have a look at, because that was a very bizarre incident.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That could be another penalty heading either way.
That's a shocker, I have to say. I mean, amazing how he stayed up, but hand raised at the moment for Hassan Boabas. Checkered flag is out. He takes victory as we see it on circuit, but obviously all the discussion will be centered around that last lap. I think between both he and Kim Min-sung, who twice now has hit the water off the board.
And I believe that Kim Min-sung could have some problems, maybe a slight injury, because it appears that he's holding his rib. So let's hope that Kim is okay after that collision.
Here's a replay. Oh my goodness.
And wow. That was not the best overtake I've ever seen from Hassan Boabas, I must say.
Do you think the stewards will be looking into that one?
I can't really say from this angle what I think that the stewards will decide, but they certainly will take a look at that incident, and it could be, if they decide not to look at it, that could be a protest heading the way of Hassan Boabas. But yeah, the medical team is checking currently Kim Min-sung, so let's hope that Kim is okay, because that was a nasty crash. And that is going to be a controversial one.
Yeah, no doubt, because it was over the race lead essentially as well.
Yeah, that will 100% be discussed in the paddock and in the stewards room.
Goodness.
And as I said, yeah, Kim Min-sung is holding his rib.
Looking sore, isn't he, at the moment?
And that is not a nice picture to look at. We hope that Kim Min-sung is okay, and that it's that possibly he just is out of breath, from that crash. Let's
Maybe
hope it's
winded.
nothing serious. Exactly. Yeah. As Hassan Boabas is celebrating his win, but we'll have to see if he stays at the first place, and if that win, if he won't be penalized. Let's see what the stewards decide. But David Krčka, a brilliant performance.
Yeah, managed to get second place in the Stock R as well, but that'll be a Stock R win, essentially.
Yeah, and what I must say, I'm very impressed in this heat by Lorenzo Tanda in fourth place.
Oh,
what a performance.
From the back to the front, near enough.
Exactly. He overtook Fares Ramadan, which is not an easy thing to do, because Fares is super fast. And yeah, Lorenzo really giving it his all in heat number 3 and getting the results, getting those important points. But what I'm interested about most is how the stewards, if they will take a look at that incident.
Yeah, I'd imagine they'll be sending the results in later on just to confirm it. Obviously, the ones that we have seen, the provisional results so far, it's gone the way of Hassan Boabas. But if they do see a need to penalise after that contact between himself and Kim Min-sung, of course, we will, let you know as time goes on, folks. But certainly a bit of spicy controversy to light things up in terms of the stock class. But we are now going to move from one stock class element to another, because now we witness Anthony Squire taking to the water this time. He'll be lining up on first spot alongside Kim Down, who has had the most experience in the water of anyone so far this weekend, taking part in both the Masters and in the stock.
Yeah, I must say, I know that feeling, because in previous seasons I've also done 2 categories at the same time, the same as Luka Zahorski. You did, and as here we can see one more time that incident. Hassan Boabas did touch Kim to let him know that he's behind, but yeah, oof. I believe that was Kim Min-sung's corner. I mean, he was in the regular track, which if you're in the regular track, that should be advantage to you, and he already started to turn. Obviously, that was not a shove from Hassan Boabas.
He was more his balance, I think.
Some people may think that touch, that he was trying to push Kim Min-sung. No, that was certainly not the case. It's usually regularly done with riders like that. If they're goofy and you're regular, you obviously can't see each other, and you can only see the guy in front of you. So you just touch his back to let him know that you're there, so you don't crash into each other. So Hassan did not try to push Kim Min-sung. He just tried letting him know. But either way, I think it was he let him know too late. And Kim Min-sung did not felt that. Actually, he did felt that touch, but right after as he started to turn, and then he couldn't take avoiding action.
Is it a case as well that Hassan wanted the inside for the corner as well?
Yeah, surely. He was there. It was a backside turn for Hassan Boabas, He wanted that inside. He gave Kim In-sung the touch to let him know, but I think that he gave that touch a little too late. Kim In-sung didn't know that he was there, and that was a nasty crash. So let's hope that Kim In-sung is okay. And I can't really say from this angle. Obviously, the marshals have more angles of the incident. They'll have the drone shot and many more shots of the incident. So I can't really decide what I think is going to happen, if it's going to be penalized, if it's going to be a racing incident, but it is definitely a thing that is going to be looked at.
Yeah, no question. I have certainly no doubt about that. Well, it means now we can talk a little bit about Group B, and with Anthony Squire, who has been sensational all weekend long so far. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to be seeing featured at the top again. Adam Fitchek was also impressive in our earlier session. Who is your pick out of Group B, Mate?
I mean, I could go for the obvious pick, which is Anthony Squire. But let's change a few things up. I think we're gonna see a spectacular performance from either Adam Fitchek or Honza Travnicek, because they're both obviously Jan Travnicek. He's a super experienced guy.
You noted his starts, didn't you, earlier on today?
Yeah, he had a brilliant start. He's actually the 2023 European champion in the stock class. So he's already got a title to his name, and he's been in the top 5 of the championship, of the World Championship, a few times as well. So an experienced rider, he knows what he's doing. Then obviously we got Adam Fitchek, who's still gaining his experiences. This is his second race in the stock category, but he's already impressive, already picking up a very decent performance in qualifying. So I believe that it's going to be either Adam or Honza that's going to surprise us, but let's not forget Kim Down. No,
of course not. I mean, obviously he's been spectacular through the course of his career in terms of MotoSurf, of course, winning many titles, whether it be Masters or Stock. He's been there and done it, got the T-shirt. Of course, Stock, highly competitive as a group, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on. Of course, in Stock Car, we do have the likes of Adam Kohler. Big eyes on Mike Michaelidis as well, I must say, coming through from Cyprus. What do you rate his chances coming into this?
I mean, Mike has tremendous talent. He's super good, and he's getting better and better. I had the chance to train with him a few weeks back in Jessurf Arena in Hradec Králové, where I regularly train. And Mike went there for a week, to train, to practice. And I was impressed with him. He put in some decent laps, and he's always pushing himself and trying to be better. So let's see what the future brings for Mike. But it's going to be certainly a tough challenge to beat Adam Kohler, because Adam is another incredible and super fast guy.
Yeah, no question. I mean, obviously now we're in the midst of Heat 3, of course, Matt, and it would be wrong of me not to ask about the finals tomorrow, because, of course, that's going to be on the tip of everyone's tongue, and we've got to have longer formats, a whole different challenge. How do you strategize yourself, or look at it, or decipher your strategy in comparison to the Heats?
The heats are more of a sprint, as to the finals are a marathon. And you could say, for example, in the elite category, it's only 4-lap difference. That 4-lap difference makes such a huge difference, because here in the heats we give 100% in those 8 laps, and we're absolutely devastated and super tired after those 8 laps. And we have to do 4 more in the final tomorrow. So all the categories have to do way more laps as well. In stock, it's also 4 laps more than what they would do. Normally they do 6. Tomorrow they're going to do 10 laps. So final is really about physique a lot. You have to have the strength, and also you have to be mentally prepared. You can't let your head just how to say it? You can't let
your heart rule your head or something.
Exactly, because those in lap, let's say 5 or 6, your muscles are gonna start burning, and you're gonna feel terrible. You can't avoid it.
And is it mainly the legs, or are we talking?
It's everything.
Everything.
It's everything. It's the legs. It's the back. Mostly the legs and the back. But you can feel, after you're done with the final, you feel like you can feel every single muscle in your body burning. So
it's not as easy as it looks, right?
Yeah, it certainly isn't. And in the heats it's as well, but your muscles start burning towards like the final few laps. So you're like, okay, it's fine, I got a few more laps left. I can manage. But whereas in the final, you know, you go and then you start to feel your muscles, and you're like, oh, this is gonna feel terrible. And then you look at the board, you know, how many laps you got left, and it says 7, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. It frightens you, I suppose, when you look at it, which is unreal. I mean, just talk about, you know, in terms of finding those apexes. Of course, we see different riders, you know, taking different routes through the course of the track. We alluded, obviously, to the 2 different routes you can take in the slalom. But aside from that, in terms of how you prepare, your time away from the track, outside of MotoSurf, where it comes to training, how does it work in terms of optimizing your speed out on track?
Well, obviously, you know, it goes down to tons of preparations. Every rider has a different way of preparing for the races, but you know, it mostly consists of the gym and just training with weights, you know, doing squats, stuff like that, to have strong knees. But as well, it's important, you know, to not run out of breath. So you obviously, a lot of riders also tend to run a lot. For example, Luka Zahorski, he does run, but his main thing is he's a crazy guy on the bike. So he does multiple kilometers on multiple tens of kilometers on the bike, and that's how he trains.
Are you a bike guy?
I'm not a bike guy. I like running more.
You like running more?
I tend to go for a run more often than go on a bike. And it all really depends, you know. Everybody prepares in a different way. They have their own strategy, which works best for them. They have it consulted with multiple trainers, what's best for their style, for their way of riding, and yeah, you try to optimize your performance, obviously, in the gym, and just be prepared for the race, because it is not as simple as it looks. And I don't mean in terms of like riding style. It's also a very physical sport. Yeah,
I can imagine. Well, we just witnessed a little bit of physicality out there in our last race, but of course there'll be plenty more of a physical nature coming up very soon. Of course, we don't just have the stocks coming out as well, but we also have the juniors with both boys and girls, and they'll be lining up for Heat 3 in their own right later on. That was, of course, going to be a 5 laps with 1 long lap being taken. Then we witnessed the return of the Masters as well later on, which will be their Heat 3 to end the day. So you can imagine, I suppose, in the Masters category, when you're looking and hunting for a finals place, this is crunch time now, right?
I mean, it certainly is. You know, if you haven't been the best in either Heat 1 or 2, then you have to absolutely nail Heat 3 and 4 to have a chance to get into the final, because only 12 riders with the best total point score go into the final.
Yeah, so there you go. Only a few places they're available for you to take, so make sure you take every opportunity. As you can see, a very busy beach. What's it like to perform in front of the spectators, Mate?
Oh, believe me, you know, once that green flag goes down, that is the last thing on your mind. Obviously, it's and it's the first thing on your mind once you cross the checkered. Once you cross
when the celebrations are up, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So, but yeah, you know, some of my friends, I can definitely sometimes hear them during the races. For example, in Heat number 1, when I was leading and we went through the first lap, I could certainly hear them, even though it's super hard to hear anything. They were screaming so loud that I could hear them.
And you have a big support base, right? They follow you everywhere to every round, or is it a case of only selected ones? Or
well, it's my friends. The ones that were cheering the most were friends that were racing also.
Okay.
It was mostly Valentina Novotná and Mariana Navarova, which
fantastic.
They're probably my biggest supporters, I'd say, which is always a great thing because I can always see them and I can always hear them when I'm riding. So yeah, they're me and Matthias Novotny. Obviously, we both train in Hradec, so we got the same guys around us.
Okay.
So we have the same fans, I'd say. So they're always cheering for us too. And yeah, it's brilliant. I train with Matthias a lot, more than with any other of the guys. So yeah, we push each other as much as possible, and we try to get good results together. Yeah,
well, it's the best preparation, I suppose, when you're pushing each other to the limit week in, week out. I mean, you were alluding to the technology as well on the board. You know, it being able to tell you how many laps you've got left out there. Of course, you are fitted with transponders, things of that nature. Has there ever been a situation where the technology hasn't worked for you and there's been a mistake, and or an issue?
Well,
How do you manage that?
As to the laps, the information about how many laps we have is with the marshals. We don't get that information on the board through the technology. Some of the riders do. For example, I know that some of the guys, I don't know if on this race, but I know that in the past a few riders have opted for having that headphones on basically during the race. But it's not really my thing. I like to have my my full focus, and I never really like someone talking to me not only during the race but also 20 minutes before the race. I want to really have my
got a clear mind.
Yeah, so it goes to really looking out towards the post of the marshals, the officials, and seeing how many laps there are left. So the information given, all the information about the race that you have given is either with the marshals on the jet skis or with the marshals in the official tent. Yeah,
obviously you'll see the white flags as well being waved. We now take a look at pictures behind the scenes in the paddock. Obviously it's very busy, lots of boards lying around, lots of teams mingling with one another, different pilots, different riders as well, getting together, getting prepared for their own individual heats right now. Things are relatively quiet at the moment. Obviously many of the, I would say the stewards, the marshals, obviously adjudicating the situation that happened in our prior race. But now we're going to see as Group B heads out in the stock class for 6 laps and the 2 long laps. Here are the riders for this next one. We got Anthony Squire starting in P1, along with him Kim Down as well, with Adam Fitchek in 3rd place, Jan Travnicek as well in 4th, Han Ti-hee in 5th place, with Ismail Captain Oglu in 6th place representing Turkey, and then of course Thomas Stepanek in 7th, Adam Kohler in 8th place as well, with Mike Michaelidis from Cyprus in 9th. Position A going to Ender Jorgenschila and Ali Nagis in B position as well. But the bottom end, obviously representing Stock R contingent, as now they make their way around the course. Obviously, all the runners now taking to the water in a bid to get this race underway. And very soon, we will be back racing. As now we watch them all look to get set for the initial formation lap. Of course, Anthony Squire, the one who's been hitting the headlines as of late, though we do have Kim Down, who's going to be on the board as well. And this will be quite an important encounter.
Obviously, we could see the delay that we had from from group number A to B was that the marshals are indeed taking a look at that incident. They're discussing what their decision is going to be. And, it depends on the seriousness of the situation that the marshals decide. It could be a penalty for Hassan Bobaz, it could be a fine for Hassan Bobaz, or it could lead, if they decide that it was really significantly dangerous, it could be even a disqualification.
Yeah, it could well be. I mean, obviously there have been protests filed, actually. I was just taking a look at one, actually, that was just recently filed for the Turkey GP. This is for Murat Jorgenschila, who's actually been penalised for a jump start infringement as well. Now, just talk to us a little bit about that. How do you know when to start? When does a jump start occur? Is it nerves? Is it, should we say touchy feelings? You're not feeling overly comfortable or content. Obviously, you see the marshal maybe make a sudden movement. Maybe you look to jump. Are those the sort of moments that tend to cause that jump start, Mate?
It really depends, I'd say, but I think that the most often where jump start happens is that it's not that they would jump the start too early, but that they start in the wrong allocation that they're not supposed to start in, because the rules clearly state that you have to be a board behind. So your front end of the board has to be alongside, I should say, the rear end of the rider in front of you. And if you do not respect that, and if you go alongside him, then that's when you get a jump start penalty for that.
Yeah, obviously, and these are the runners that are now taken to Group B. They'll be hoping that they don't cause a jump start infringement. On the near side, you can see in the stars and stripes that we've seen for the likes of Ted Burke, for example. Anthony Squire donning the same uniform here straight away ahead of this Group B encounter. He will, of course, have the inside line and the P1 spot with Kim Down alongside him, Adam Fitchek, as well as Jan Travnicek as well. Who's going to get the better launch off the line? They'll now trickle up towards the marshals before they get underway. And now, in the stock Group B category, surfs up. here in this Heat 3 encounter as now Anthony Squire comes through turn 1, very aggressive through turn 1, and we got a battle for second between Kim Down and Adam Ficek.
That was nearly a crash from Honza Travnicek. Luckily, other riders avoided that collision and he didn't fall down. But that was certainly a moment his board caught a wave and he just jumped into the air. As now we can see the riders taking the splits, and will we see, is it Anthony Squire that's going to be leading after the first lap? It is. In second position, I believe that it is going to be Kim Down, and right behind him, attacking him, is Adam Ficek.
Yeah, and Adam Ficek almost had him as well. Right to the get-go, they were side by side coming through towards the second buoy as soon as we got going, as now we take a look at the number 9 of Mike Michaelidis all the way from Cyprus. Now looking to try and close down and make up a few places in his own right, but no one can hold a candle to Anthony Squire at the moment. He leads the way here in Group B of Heat 3 right now in the stock category as they now whip through this next left-hander in behind Kim Down, solidifying himself in second, coming side by side with Adam Ficek, but Kim Down, that experience so crucial here at the most crucialist of moments.
Yeah, and Anthony Squire has actually built quite a decent gap to Kim Min-song, so now he can just manage his pace, as now we can see Anthony Squire exiting the... actually now we see Adam Ficek, who's decided to take the long lap in the very first lap. So now he'll have clear water ahead of him, which that is a quite good decision from Adam Ficek. Now he can push on clear water. Hopefully he won't, get at the rear end of the guys that are slower than him too fast, so it doesn't slow him down. But here we can see Anthony pushing and Kim Down trying to stay within touching distance, and he is managing to do so. I believe that Kim Down is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, he's doing a brilliant job. I mean, you generally see different riders and their styles as well, taking the long lap as well. Anthony Squire, who currently leads the way. Anthony strikes me as an athlete who's more physical on the water.
Certainly. Anthony is super physical. That's, I think, the final is gonna... the finals are built for him, He's that machine that just puts in lap after lap. As I believe that the reason that Anthony decided to take that long lap was, that he saw that Adam Ficek, all the way in P4, took the long lap, but Anthony still knows that Adam Ficek is a threat, and even though he's in 4th place, he can put in some decent laps. So that's the kind of insight that Anthony has on other riders on track, even when racing.
Yeah, definitely. He crosses the line now. Obviously, has just taken his first of the long laps. Kim Down now holds the lead for now, but of course will be undertaking the long lap himself now this time. So this will now be the time to see whether Anthony Squire can now retake that position. Of course, Han Tai He as well is inside this top 3. Also, perhaps hasn't taken his long lap just quite yet, obviously being sat in that top 3 position. Obviously, if he'll take the long lap now, he'll lose that place to Anthony Squire as they now come through the first sector
and
again.
Anthony Squire is still ahead even after the first long lap. He's ahead by approximately 20 meters, 15 meters in front of Anthony Squire, or behind Anthony Squire, I should say. And yeah, now they're going through the split section, and Kim Down is really pushing. We can see Anthony looking back, and he's like, he's probably thinking, "Oh my God, I'm giving my everything, and this guy is still right behind me."
He won't go away. And I suppose this again probably makes Anthony think, well, maybe I shouldn't plumb for the long lap just yet. Maybe leave it till later into the race.
I mean, but that shouldn't be a problem, because as long as Kim Down is behind him, he can just manage his pace, not let him get in front. But now they're catching the back markers, so this is the time that Anthony Squire should take the long lap if possible. And he doesn't. He decided to stay out.
Kim Down doesn't.
I don't know why, what he thought. Hopefully he'll clear the back markers quickly. And that is the reason. There is another back marker on the long lap. So Kim Down is also going to be stuck behind a back marker. So he needs to clear that back marker as soon as possible. And this is going to be very interesting. This shakes things up quite a lot.
So now this might be the time for Anthony Squire to take the long lap now, knowing that Kim Down was in behind the back marker on the long lap prior. So great chance now for the man from the States to now lend himself into the attack as Kim Down starts weaving through the slalom in front of him here before he brings it into this next lap. So you can just see him there adjusting his helmet just ever so slightly as he whips around the final 2 corners to begin the next run. The big question, big bold question, does Squire take the long lap now?
I mean, it really depends. It depends on what is going on in front of him. But let's not forget Adam Fitzek. He was the one who took the long lap early, and now once the other guys are stuck behind back markers, he has clear water and he can push. So he can definitely make up some good positions. Let's see how that ends up. As here we can see Anthony Squire. You're right, he did take the long lap, and as Honza Travnicek also takes the long lap. So Anthony Squire is in the lead. Actually, he is not in the lead. It appears that Kim Min-sung is in front of him, and that was a mistake in the slalom section. Anthony was quite wide there, as Kim Down, is in front of Anthony Squire, and in second position is Adam Fitzek. That's what I said. That brilliant strategy from Adam Fitzek. He went from 6th place all the way up to 2nd because of his strategy. What a brilliant performance.
And what a brilliant performance from Kim Down. That timely long lap, obviously coming in prior to Anthony Squire. Anthony Squire must be wondering what on earth he needs to do to beat this man, I think, at this point. It's Kim Down, your victor in Group B here in the stock category. And Heat 3, and that tees up nicely for Heat 4 tomorrow. Obviously, they'll be back, no doubt. Anthony Squire, Kim Down, Adam Fitzek. Keep your eyes peeled on them as well, and not to mention Jan Travinček as well. But we will take a look at the full results as they come in very soon. I've got to give credit to Han Tai-hee, who was also brilliant, finished in 4th place as well. Kim Down, your first place sitter ahead of Anthony Squire, beating him to the punch in the closing stages, ahead of Jan Travnik as well. Anthony Squire down in 3rd, I should say. Adam Fitzek 2nd now recorded. Adam Kolar in 4th, with Mike Michaelidis in 5th. Jan Travinček down in 6th as well, with Han Tai-hee in 7th, and then Ismail Kaptanoglu down in 8th place. Thomas Stepanek in 9th, and Ali Nagris down in 10th, with Ender Jorgen Schiele down in 11th spot. But a brilliant win for Kim Down there.
Obviously, a brilliant performance from Kim Down. You know, we call, or actually here in the MotoSurf community, Kim Down is sometimes referred to as Mr. 60 laps.
Wow.
Because, you know, he's also a very physical guy, and he can do a lot of laps.
He sounds like he could do a lot, certainly based on the fact that he competes in 2 classes at the moment this season.
That is the reason. The Ironman, I should say.
I would say the Ironman.
Mr. 60 laps.
I would agree.
And, yeah, but Kim Down was spectacular, but the performance that I'd like to talk about is Adam Fitzek.
Yeah.
That first lap strategy really paid off for him. He made up a lot of time, and he even overtook the leader, Anthony Squire, just due to strategy and managing his clear water. Obviously, the guy's getting stuck behind back markers, whereas he had clear water up ahead of him. So a brilliant performance from Adam.
It was quite a bold call, wasn't it, for Adam Fitzek to obviously go for that long lap straight from the get-go, almost pulling no punches, leaving everything out in a question mark, really, because you don't know how the rest of the race is going to pan out, really.
Yeah, it was a risk, but it certainly paid off because Adam did a brilliant performance. Yeah,
well, he'll be back, I'm sure, tomorrow ahead of Heat 4. We will, of course, be bringing you Heat 4 action along with the finals tomorrow. Next up, we do, of course, have the juniors coming up next, and we're going to witness the return of Matthias Barvik, who, of course, came under close fight with Stanislav Kuhort as well. What do you make of the junior boys section?
Yeah, they're also, again, I know I say this about almost every racer, but they're super talented. I love to watch them. It's incredible. You know, when I was their age, I wasn't half as good as they were.
No.
So it's absolutely spectacular how talented.
That's a great endorsement for the young riders coming through.
Certainly. I believe that if we'd, these guys are 12, 13, 14.
Yeah.
Depends on which one of them. If they were to race against me when I was 13, 14, they would have absolutely destroyed me.
Goodness me. Well, we can run through the runners. Matthias Barvik will be lining up in position 1 with Stanislav Kuhort as well in 2nd. Oliver Wolf in 3rd place with Leo Lischel Kratov-Chil in 4th. Then Maximilian Hruska in 5th too. We then have Stepan Simek, Jakub Nurochny in 7th with Sani Uris and Mohamed Chigdem as well are the runners making their way through. Of course, we saw Matthias Barvik earlier on. It was Stanislav Kuhort who was the shining light, though, in Heat 2, and I'm sure we'll see him back again at the very top. Matthias Barvik, the consistent performer, back at Fujairah when we went racing back in the UAE, taking a decent majority share of the points. Not the most, though, because it was Stanislav Kuhort who went on to take a full scale of victories right on through. Undeniable, undefeated, was pole that time as well. Matthias Barvik, though, was slightly better in that final last time out.
Yeah, obviously Stanislav Kahut in that final. That was unfortunate for him because he led the entire final. He was first the entire time, and then he made a crucial mistake in one of the last laps where he missed a buoy, so he had to take a second long lap, which then led to Matthias Barvik overtaking him, and he ended up in third place, but still racking up a decent amount of points towards the championship.
Yeah, so you wouldn't say necessarily it was a true to form result on part of Stanislav Kuhort, really. We can expect better, is what you're saying.
I mean, certainly. But these guys, Matthias Barvik and Stanislav Kahut, they're super close.
Yeah.
So it depends on a lot of stuff. It can end up either way, you know. I can't say that one of them is favorite.
No, not at all. You couldn't hang your hat on either of them.
Exactly. I think it's really 50-50 with them two. They're both equally as good, I'd say. And it's really interesting to watch these guys race. Yeah,
obviously the ages of these riders is significantly younger. Bear in mind they're all chasing spots in stock class for the future, looking to follow suit in the similar veins. Of course, we speak about Fares Ramadan, who competed earlier on, a champion in the 2023 junior category. This is now 2 years ago now. Now he's competing in the stock class and doing unbelievably well, as we saw from earlier today. But now it's the turn of some new blood coming through, looking to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Sebastian Kostelecki, who of course won the title last year in junior boys category, and Oliver Navarra, who of course won in juniors back in 2022 as well. Many others, of course, coming before that. Of course, MotoSurf being around since 2012, we would have seen a numerous amount of young hopefuls looking to move through the echelons of MotoSurf. And it's amazing, really, recognised by the UIM. It's a really good footprint here for keen water sports people, obviously including yourself, Mate.
Yeah, I did race in the junior category. It's quite a while back, but I did start.
How old are you now, Mate? Can we ask?
I'm 19. I'm currently 19, and
he doesn't look a day over 18. Everybody.
I actually turned 18 yesterday. So
oh, did you?
Sorry, 19 yesterday. So
oh my goodness.
So that is very true.
The memory loss kicking in already. You've got so many years ahead of you. Happy birthday, Mate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we celebrated it a bit yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah,
Even though you were wearing a Tottenham Hotspur shirt, which I've forgiven you for now.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Tottenham also they won the European League, so now I guess that wearing a Tottenham shirt doesn't mean that I lose every single race.
No. Have you got? Obviously we were speaking about Ange Postecoglou yesterday. Is he in your corner here at MotoSurf as well?
Unfortunately not, but maybe I'll give him a call. Now that he doesn't have a job, at least not in Tottenham, so maybe he can be my coach.
I've heard rumours he's a free agent, so
yeah, I'll give him a call.
Fantastic, brilliant. Ever the character, obviously, as always, is our man Mate. And we're going to be taking a look at yet another bunch of characters. This time, obviously, many young talents coming through the realms of the junior categories. Matthias Barvik, though, can he withhold and hang on to that championship lead status? And we will, of course, find out. Of course, Oliver Wolf. We've got the likes of Stanislav Kuhort, though. That's the one to watch. Of course, he'll be starting in second place alongside Matthias Barvik. I mean, that's going to be a close contest going into boy one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, obviously it is going to be. But let's not forget, if Matthias Barvik and Stanislav Kahut, if they get caught up in a battle, then Oliver Wolf from number 3, he can take that into advantage and gain on them. He's also, I wouldn't rule him out certainly for victory. No,
not at all. Of course, Matthias Barvik representing MS Czech talent, with Stanislav Kuhort representing the Jet Surf community. So now we watch them make their way down through towards the start-finish line. Looks like they're going to have to go round again and get back into formation. The Marshals not happy with that race start there.
No, that was not the best of lineups, so the Marshals decided to take them for another lap to get that lineup right, and hopefully now they will get that lineup right and we can get the race up and going.
Yeah, we certainly will. You can see arms up.
We can see Stanislav Kahut there jumping around, warming up, with Matthias Barvik with his hand up, trying to get the lineup right. And they're going to make the turn into the start straight. And if the Marshals are going to like that lineup, they're going to wave that flag and the race is going to be started.
Yeah, the green flag will be coming down hopefully soon, folks, as now they all get into position. all fanning up into a line. They'll be hoping not to leave it too late. You just see the marshal just watching them and observing as they make their way through.
That lineup looks good to me. What about the marshals? And yeah, it did look good. And a brilliant start from Stanislav Kahoot and from Oliver Wolf. Matthias there wasn't the quickest in the reaction, but he still managed to keep that lead into the first corner. Oliver Wolf is on the inside of Stanislav Kahoot, but he was wide there a little bit, as now they're taking different splits. So this is going to be very close. They have to be perfect in these apexes, because now they're going to conjoin into that truck, and it's still Matthias Barvik ahead. Closely behind him, a few meters then, it's Stanislav Kahoot. Then we can see it's Max Hruška actually who got into that third position. So Oliver Wolf made a mistake somewhere to drop back a position.
Yeah, I don't think he got off the line perhaps as quick as he would have liked, and it has led to now Matthias Barvik going side by side here enough right at the start with Stanislav Kuhort, but then getting the run, and the Jetson coming through the first buoy as they now start jostling through the initial stages now as they whip through the red buoy to then take them through onto the cusp on the edge of the closure of the long lap. But the question is, will anyone jump early? That's the big question. Will it be Matthias Barvik? Will it be Stanislav Kuhort? No, it doesn't look so. It looks like Matthias Barvik is going to continue onwards with Kuhut now in behind him as they look to stretch through the latter slalom.
As now they both have taken different directions in that split section, but it's still Matthias Barvik, and now he's built quite a decent gap. Now, last lap it was very close. Now it is about 2 or 3 seconds between them, as Max Hruška is doing a fantastic job closely following them. And then we have in fourth position rider number 3, which is obviously Oliver Wolf. So he's trying to make up for that mistake that he had, and he let Max Hruška through at that split section. Yeah,
obviously Oliver Wolf 4th place now in our timing screen, ahead of Stepan Simek at the moment, who has since dropped down a place. Now already the arm is up, so it looks like we're going to be seeing Barvik taking the long lap.
Yeah, Matthias is taking the long lap early. I don't know what his decision with the thinking process behind that was. He had clear water up ahead of him. He didn't need to do anything. He just had to do the opposite. But maybe there's a certain strategic decision behind that you know we can't see here from the commentator's booth. So we'll see how that unfolds for Matthias. But he did take the long lap, and he does have clear water up ahead from him. So that didn't cost him anything, really.
Yeah, and obviously the difference is between the junior categories and that of the stock, and also the elite and also the masters, is that obviously, and the women as well, is that they only take the one long lap in the heats, as well as we watch them come across the line.
I now see that decision that Matthias had, and that decision was correct, because in fact they were going up behind the back marker, which Stanislav Kahoot has now caught. So that was the reason why Matthias Barvik took that long lap so early. But now Matthias is also stuck behind a back marker, so now the one who can gain on that is Oliver Wolf.
Absolutely, he can now gain a few places. He's currently second now as we see it on screen. And the number 2 rider who we're currently watching at the moment is, of course, Stanislav Kahoot, who is now currently sat in that position right at the very top, obviously waiting to take that first long lap, weaving through the boys at the moment. And obviously Matthias Barvik, we'll see where he comes out as soon as Kahoot does take that long lap and filters out across the line. The number 7 rider, Jakub Neurochny, now making his way across the line as well. He's making his way through turn 1 as we now see the young Czech, Stanislav Kahoot, cross the line and get another lap underway. Now, will we see him return the serve? Because this is only going to be a 5-lap race in total, and you must serve that long lap within those 5 laps.
So he has no option now. He has to take that long lap now. Otherwise, that will be a penalty. So we'll see. But Matthias is pushing. He really wants to keep that lead. So Stanislav Kahoot now is going to have to take that long lap. We'll see. He has not taken that long lap. So is he continuing?
Might be the last time of asking, perhaps, or is he coming around
no,
the black boys now? Yeah, here we go.
He has taken the long lap. Sorry. And yes, so now it is going to be very close at that exit.
Oh.
And oh no, who's that in the water? I believe that at that double backside, it was not Matthias Barvik, because he's still...
There he is now.
He's still there. And is he ahead of Stanislav Kahoot? It looks as though he is.
I think he might be. We'll find out now for sure. That's for certain. They're coming through towards the closing stages of this race. This is Stanislav Kahut now making his way through. This is our original
this is
leader.
going to be very close between the two guys, but it is Matjaž Barvik ahead. Then it's Stanislav Kahut. There we see Matjaž overtaking a back marker to take the checkered flag and win heat number 3.
Brilliant job from Matjaž Barvik. Victor here in our third heat.
But I'm not sure that he saw the checkered flag because he's still continuing. As so is Stanislav Kahut. They're both continuing
I think they missed
in the
it.
race.
Yeah,
and now they've seen
now
it.
They've realised
now
it.
they've realised.
They're just keen racers. Winner, of course, is Matjaž Barvik here in this third heat of the boys, the youth. And what a wonderful, wonderful display from the junior riders. And Stanislav Kahut, great job to finish in second. Nearly had Barvik's number. It could have so easily worked the other way after he took that late long lap. But, of course, Matjaž Barvik doing enough to cover him off. And doing that against a staunch competitor like Stanislav Kahut is a really, really great performance, really.
Yeah, that was an amazing performance from Matjaž. He did everything that he needed to do. And he ended up being in first place. Obviously, that split strategy, did not really work for Oliver Wolf because he's now down in 6th place. But what did work is the strategy for Max Hruška, because he ended up staying in that 3rd place. In 4th place, then we have Stepan Šimek, and then the Austrian in 5th place, Leo Lichal Kratochwil, one of the youngest guys in the World Championship starting grid.
Yeah, and obviously Oliver Wolf then further down in 6th place with Jakub Nurochny in 7th. We then have Mohamed Chikdem and Sani Uris as well finishing 9th as well. Definitely up there as one of the riders of the day, I would say, Maximilian Hruška.
Yeah, definitely. His performance was superb. And also for the driver of the day between all of the heats today, my pick would be either him or actually my pick would be Adam Fitzek for the performance that he did with that strategy here in heat number 3. That was fantastic.
Not yourself, Mate, at all? No?
What?
Not you at all?
I can't really judge myself. I'll have to take the replays.
I will give myself rider of the day. No, it was an astonishing performance. I mean, I love seeing the side-by-side coming through the final. Boy, it really, really was a pleasure to watch. But now we're going to move on to the junior girls category now as we look to head through. Now, yet again, 5 laps, 1 long lap to take. We have, of course, the usual contenders in this category, including Nela Podznikova, as well as Ellen Bedova as well, with Adela Pokarova and Maya Zulevinska, the only pole in this 5 racer contingent. Melanie Janhubova as well. We've seen Podznikova and Bedova come side by side a few times already through the course of this weekend. It looked like Ellen Bedova was going to waltz away with it, really, through the course of the early stages of the junior girls side, but I have to say it hasn't necessarily been the case.
I'm surprised as well, because in the first race, obviously Ellen was faster and she was superior to Nella, but they're very good friends. They train together almost every single day, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, they know each other's riding styles, and they can. It's a disadvantage and an advantage for them.
Well, because they know each other so well.
Exactly, they know each other so well.
Yeah.
So they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So, but this track, maybe it suits Nella more. Maybe Ellen just isn't finding that pace, or maybe Nella just trained that slightly more harder than Ellen, and she's now the faster rider. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talk about water being water, and we allude to obviously Ellen Bedova being so good off the back of the UAE last time out. Is there any difference in the behaviour of the waters in the UAE in comparison to what we're seeing now here in Cheshire?
Oh, certainly. I mean, you might not think that it actually makes a difference, but an experienced rider, he can feel that every single race venue is different. Every single race venue. The water feels different, the board is different in the turns. You have to adjust yourself to that, and that is a part of if you want to be successful in that particular race, you have to adjust well to that type of water and to those conditions.
Yeah, and obviously in terms of preparation in working towards that, is there anything you can use to work with in order to identify, where you can optimize your board ready for the weekend?
I mean, not really, because it comes down to the rider's feeling. It's not
free practice?
Exactly. It's not anything technical that the mechanics, that the engineers can work out. It's that you just go out and you feel comfortable, you feel confident, or you do not.
Yeah, well, there you go. Can't say it fairer than that. And obviously, that's exactly what these riders will be put into the task. That's for sure. As they look to head out onto the water for Heat 3. Of course, they'll be back for Heat 4 tomorrow, folks. And we will, of course, keep you updated tomorrow when that rolls around and talk you through the finals as well when that rolls around. Obviously, Mate next to me, be hoping he can win his first final in Elite this time around. How do you measure for the Elite finals tomorrow? I mean, how do you feel about moving through to a largely different concept? Of course, we speak about there being more laps, but you know, there's more on the line, more points.
Yeah,
it's the championship.
Yeah, it's gonna be super hard because Lucas, obviously, he was even here in the final few laps, he was really pushing.
Yeah.
He was right there behind me. So if I want to win, I'll have to keep him behind me for another 4 laps.
That's easy though, right?
Not really, no. it's quite the opposite of easy.
Goodness me, it's equally probably your best dream or your worst nightmare at the same time.
Exactly. But I'd say that there aren't that there's not a lot of things in MotoSurf that are harder than to keep Lukas Zahorski behind you.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I'm certainly not going to dispute you, Mate, on that. Certainly as someone who hasn't ridden these boards before, but you have. This is why I'm picking your brains right through the course of today. But yeah, as we're coming through now to the final echelons of today, of course, this is where we're seeing the winds really start to pick up. You can just sort of see the water behaviour. We've got flags, of course, littered around here, which can very much give us an indicator of how strong the wind is. We've got quite a strong breeze. Sitting in comparison to this morning, it was dead this morning when they headed out. Did you feel the same when you went out this morning as well?
I did, but there were still quite a few waves, and they caught me off guard in the first few laps when we headed into the technical section here after the start of the race. These first few buoys after the start gate, I didn't feel as comfortable because it was still a little bit more wavy than in qualifying. In qualifying, the water was just straight out flat. It was really amazing to ride on that, and for a rider, it's the easiest to ride on flat water.
Yeah. Do you think you'll see some of that in Manfredonia in Italy?
Certainly not.
No.
Italy is known. This year we actually have a different venue, so we'll see about that. It's still in Manfredonia, but it's a different place, not the place that we used to race in 3 years. Actually, it's been 3 years that we raced there now. So it's going to be, I've heard it's going to be a different venue, but that venue was known for being the waviest on the calendar.
Wow.
Alongside, obviously, Croatia, which is also wavy every single year.
So they picked the 2 right ones to finish the season with, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. And even in Macau last year, it was also very wavy. So we had a triple header. You know, the last 3 races, it was just waves. It was horrible and great at the same time.
Do you think the time of year plays into that as well, though, Mate? With it being October and with it being colder, probably we're coming in to the winter out of the autumn. It's going to be cold for you guys out there.
I mean, yeah, it could be down to that. But what's behind that? What's behind the weather is not really what's on our mind. It's just we have to adjust to that and do our best on the conditions that we're given. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Couldn't say it better myself. As now we await the riders to now commit on to the next race. Now we're going to be seeing the young girls make their way out for Heat 3, and we'll then be a third through our heats phase in the junior category as well, with one final heat to come before we get stuck in to the final. And as you folks at home are aware from the starting grid we read out, it will be Nela Poznikova who will be starting on that pole position, with Ellen Badova lining up alongside her in second. Only a 5-rider sprint through this session, and they're going to be asked to go again by the looks of it. The marshals obviously not happy with the line just yet, probably coming in a little bit too quick, but they're going to reset now, get back into position, and hopefully just brush away the tensions before that green flag comes down.
Yeah, it's also I don't like that when you're really focused on the start of the race and
sort of breaks your concentration.
Exactly, and then the marshal raises his flag and he's like,
and you're like, oh,
go another time, and you're like, oh my god, now I have to do it all again.
Yeah. Are you almost praying when you come down to the start, like saying, please don't turn the flag, please don't do it?
Oh no, that's not really the thing that's on your mind. And now they're going once again around. So that lineup was also not good. So yeah, no, it's just like, oh my God, I was so prepared, and now we're going again.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like nerves going on stage, isn't it, before you head out for a big production of a big play. You get the butterflies in your stomach, and of course you want to make sure that you hit turn one in just the right manner, because that can be the difference between winning or losing, certainly when it comes to MotoSurf, that's for sure, as we've already seen right through the course of the weekend. As now Nela Badova, with her hand raised, has got the remainder of her group alongside her as well, including Ellen Badova and Adela Pokarova as well in behind, with the only Polish rider behind as well, as surfs up here in the juniors in the girls category. This is of course our third heat of the day, and it's Nela Podikova who's getting a really good start here, and now controlling the lead out in front ahead of Ellen Badova as well as Adela Pokarova and Maja Zulovinska further back as well, with Melanie Janhubova who is going to be settling in behind those runners as well. They're going to be taking alternate sides of the slalom, but great start from Podsnikova.
So now we're going to see what it's going to be.
This
is going to be very tight. And wow, that was an amazing job. Well done from Podsnikova and Nela. She managed to stay ahead, but wow, that was close at that apex.
They looked like they were going to enter the gate together, side by side on the run through. Luckily enough, no clashes.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see the same thing that we saw with Kim Min-sung and Hassan Bobas over there, but thank God we did not.
No, we didn't. Obviously, they're currently out in front and still holding the same positions they held right at the start of this race. Obviously, now it's all about planning for the long lap. That is all that separates them between now and the finish. Bear in mind, very much like the boys category, 5 laps of action with 1 long lap that must be served in between, as well as they now take the wide red buoy on the right-hand side. Of course, this is where they can make the decision to take the long lap at the top of the course, but now they're choosing to take the slalom for now. Or are we seeing our first long lap of the day? Yes, from our second place runner, Ellen Badova, taking the long lap for the first time.
Yeah, Ellen Badova taking it early, doing that split strategy, you know, doing the opposite of what Nela is doing in front. So we're going to see if that pays off. Nela now, the smartest thing to do would be to cover her off.
Yeah.
To do the long lap right as soon as she can.
Yeah, obviously that must be something that she's considering in her head. We've seen it several times where, you know, a rider will see perhaps another one go off wide. It's a smart move by Ellen Badova. Change things up, choose something a little different, take that long lap, try and be the fastest to undertake the long lap as well. Give yourself an advantage when you then rejoin the circuit. There she is right now, making her way around the left-handers. Very sharp left turns, and indeed we are going to be seeing yet another long lap being taken, and it looks like it is going to be Podsnikova who is going to take that long lap this time.
Yeah, and some news going up ahead now. The stewards have taken a look at that incident that we talked about earlier, and Hassan Bobas has been disqualified from that race. So Hassan Bobas is not going to take any point home. He's been disqualified for that incident from the race. So that is quite a shocker. And Adam Janošek, he's been penalized for the thing that we spoke about earlier, turning in the incorrect decision and going in the wrong way. So on both of those occasions, the marshals have decided, or the officials have decided, that that is an offence and that they should be penalised.
That is quite a significant update, I must say. Thank you, Mate, for that. Obviously, the stewards getting involved in the big clash that we saw between Kim Min-sung as well as, of course, Hassan Bouabas. Hassan Bouabas, who came off the back of that on track, the race winner, has now had that win stripped away from him, so has been disqualified from that last race. Thank you so much, Mate, for that. Race control, obviously, getting involved and making sure everything is done as it should, as now we watch as the number 2 of Ellen Badova makes her way through the course. And looking to catch up with Nela Podsnikova. Of course, both riders undertaking the long lap, and it looks like Podsnikova still has maintained that lead.
Yeah, she has. And now, who's up ahead in front of them? The only other rider left is Adela Pokarova. So now, Adela has to push really if she wants to have a chance to be up ahead of them. And this is going to be close between them, but still, it's Nela that's still ahead. Ellen Badova is really attacking Nela, but Nela is keeping a calm and focused head and staying up in front.
And we're on the last lap now with the white flag coming out, so this is it now. They're going to have to fight between them. They were almost as close as they were, if not closer, despite the first lap being so manacled together. Coming through the slalom, they were once more, though, on that last lap, and it is still Nela Podsnikova who is out in front ahead of Ellen Badova. This being the final lap of asking here in the junior girls category, as now she raises her hand here. Does our race leader just waving through the first? Obviously, she's already taken the long lap, so no concerns about that, but they're both going to take opposite sides of the slalom before then crossing the line. Who's going to come out the better? Just a little bit of drag there coming from Ellen Badova. She made her way through. That might cost her a little bit of time, but they are so dialed in together. It looks like, though, it's going to go Posnikova's way, who's going to come around the final corner. It's Nella Posnikova who rounds the final corner to take victory here in the junior girls category, Group A. Of course, the only group here in Heat 3 for the girls, and another fantastic performance on part of her from the front, right at the start, to the flag, taking the lead and the victory. A fantastic performance, Mate.
Doing the job, staying ahead, being ahead and maintaining that lead, managing your pace. A fantastic job from Nella. Obviously, Ellen, she tried her best. She did not manage to overtake Nella, but a brilliant performance from Ellen as well. And then we have Adela Pokorova in third place.
Yeah, we certainly do. There are the results. Nella Posnikova taking victory here, the young Czech talent on top here ahead of Ellen Badova, a fellow country person as well, obviously part of the same nation of Czech. We've got quite the Czech contingent here in the girls group, the only one not being Maja Zulovinska, who finished in fourth, but a truly remarkable performance as we saw them take to the water. And this will tee them up nicely, ready for tomorrow's junior section for Heat 4.
And then now I'm unfortunately going to have to leave the commentators booth. I still have some things that I need to do. I have to obviously repair that pad that broke to be prepared.
Well, you got a busy day tomorrow, so
yeah, I do. But it was lovely. It was lovely commentating with you right here.
It's always a pleasure, my friend. Obviously, Mate Kozicek, the 2022 MotoSurf World Champion. Thank you so much for joining me in the commentary box this weekend.
Thank you for having me. And as to all of the fans watching, I hope that you tune in for tomorrow for Heat number 4 and the finals.
Yeah, tell them why they don't want to miss it.
Well, why they don't want to miss it is that I think that it's going to be an incredibly fun battle between me, Lucas, Matthias, and Alex.
Are you going to beat Sahorski tomorrow?
Well, I mean, that certainly is the goal and is the plan, but Lucas is incredible, so it's going to be tremendously hard.
Well, I, like many, are going to be so keen to watch and find out. Thank you so much, Mate.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Mate Kozicek, everybody, joining us in the commentary booth. Taking us through those last few races that we, of course, witnessed. We'll take care, Matt. We wish you the very best. Thank you for joining us. Wishing you the very best of luck for tomorrow's final and, of course, the fourth heat that will be coming up as well later on tomorrow. But we have still got some heat action to bring you from the Masters category to tail off the day. And we're going to be bringing you Group A, Group B action with 6 laps and, of course, 2 long runs as well to come. And just to rubber stamp, obviously, we spoke about that massive impact that we witnessed in that previous race as well. There was, of course, that protest upheld in that battle between Hassan Bouabas and, of course, unfortunately getting disqualified after the big incident. As we now get set to look ahead. But this is what professional sport is all about. Next up, the Masters category. And we will, of course, discuss those runners as they come up. Of course, this will represent our final 2 races that we'll be bringing you today. And we do have the corrected result from Heat 3 in the Masters. Of course, we alluded to the penalties earlier on. But I can tell you that in Heat 3, that in Group B, Kim Down was the winner, ahead of Anthony Squire, who finished second, with Adam Fitchek in third, and Adam Kohler down in fourth, with Mike Michaelidis in fifth, Jan Travinček in sixth place, with Han Tai-hee in seventh, and eighth place going to Ishmael Kaptanoglu, with Thomas Stepanek down in ninth, ahead of Yenda Jorgen Chila and Ali Nagri as well, who represents the stock car contingent as well. Can confirm as well that Adam Fitchek received a penalty for a force miss buoy, gaining an advantage, did not return the position back. And Ali Nagri also receiving a penalty for dangerous riding, taking the opposite direction of riding, and therefore was penalised off the back of it. So that's the update concerning that. We now move through to the Masters, and Kim Down, after winning in the stock, will now be looking to take victory once again, this time in the Masters category. I can tell you that these are the starting positions. Kim Down is going to be the man starting on first place position, with Petr Poznik in second place. Yuri Stovacek as well then in third. We then have Arkadiusz Shinora, who's going to be starting in fourth spot, with Yuri Blahar in fifth. Then we have Radek Luchka in sixth place, with Roman Lishal Krovchil in seventh place, with Ted Burke lining up in eighth. Sedat Yuris Osman in ninth, with place A going to Yunjin, and then Pavel Matoska in position B, with position C going to NG Chio Hong from the very back for the man from Macau. So 6 laps and 2 long laps to be taken here at this wonderful venue here in Turkey. Then we're all going to be looking to try and scramble for the best positions possible to capitalise before we reach the final heats tomorrow. And of course, we're now watching the board of Yuri Stovacek. We'll be looking to grasp Group A by the horns, but we'll need a big start to get past Petr Pozicek and also Kim Down as well, who has just been so good today, beating Anthony Squire in great fashion. And, so many talents that I'm sure we'll be seeing in the programme for Elite next season, with the rumours of many of the stock runners moving through to the top category for next season. We look forward to seeing that as well. But the all-important World Championship still very much in full swing. We do, of course, as I mentioned to Matej Kovacek, obviously talking about Manfredonia coming up next. He obviously alluded to the waters being quite rough in places. A lot of that can be down to the weather conditions that we will be seeing, obviously given the time of year, with October launching us into the winter period. And, of course, closing off the autumn period out to the summer season. It's going to be a mission for these riders to make their way through in vastly different conditions to what we're currently seeing. So now watch as they now make their way down through towards the left-hander. It will be Kim Down on the inside in a bid to take yet another victory in yet another class. And it's all possible here in this very late stage now, as we look to get set, ready to go. The Masters class world champion, stock class runner-up from last year, now looking to become a world champion again in Masters for a back-to-back year, as now he awaits the marshals to give the go-ahead. And surfs up here in Group A of the Masters Heat 3. And it's Kim Down getting a very good start, and equally as well, Yuri Stovacek trying to keep Petr Poznik in behind, as well as they look to fly around this next left-hander. Of course, they're going to be tussling over these top places. We got Arkadiusz Shinora also up in the top fold, as well as we now keep an eye on the runners coming through the slalom. It's still Kim Down at the moment, who has marched out quite a gap in comparison to the other runners queued up in behind now, as we see some side-by-side moments. And indeed, Petr Poznik managing to come out in second place for the back. It was a great start by Arkadiusz Shinora, who could have very easily been second fastest off the back of that last run coming across the line. And as they now move their way through this next lap, we're now going to watch them make their way through the first half of the next lap here this time around. And now the thoughts of the long lap come into play. There is Petr Poznik making his way through the next left-hander, coming out to the red boy. Further up, Kim Down, still embracing the circuit so far, not taking the long lap just yet. Now, will we see someone taking a different line through to the remainder of this race? Bear in mind, they will have to take 2 long laps here in this session, as we said, 6 laps in total, as they look to bring this second lap to a close. After this, they'll only have 4 more, in which case then they'll have reduced opportunities to take the 2 long laps. As now crossing the line goes Kim Down. I have no doubt in my mind he might consider to go again, this time with a long lap on his mind. There is Petr Poznik, just beginning his next lap as well. Kim Down is currently hustling out a magnificent lead so far, as they hustle through the opening stint here on this 3rd lap. Plenty of time still to run so far, but currently it is the Masters Class World Champion who's in control right now, as indeed we do see Kim Down, I think, taking the long lap this time. Yes, he is. Taking the black boys over the far side. And now through the red and black, he'll then rejoin the course. We'll need to take 1 more after this, as he really gets down on his 2 legs and looks to just pivot the board back through. in a bid to take in the two black gates. He's not alone, though, because Peter Poznik also opting for the long lap as well, as they rush through the next segment and then through the soiree, through the corners, just hitting the apexes as they go. And now very shortly we'll take the next lap down the long straight. Still at this point, Kim Down looking to consolidate his position up at the top. Obviously taking that long lap, it will drop him down a few places, as we now watch and wait for the riders now to head on through on their next runs. But it truly was a fantastic getaway from Kim Down, the Korean talent representing Rocket Racing, as we now watch as Peter Poznik makes his way through the slalom as well. Nice and smooth, controlled pace from Peter Poznik from the Czech Republic. Set emblazoned with the number 17 on his board. So now race through into the wash and heading on yet another long lap. This is the second long lap that he'll undertake here, Kim Down, as he now comes through the next right-hander before rejoining the main circuit layout as we know it. Still very much lodged in the wash, though, and getting held up perhaps by a couple of riders. This is going to open up a door here for Peter Poznik should he get a clean run. And if there's one thing we know about Poznik, he is fast enough. He's also taken the long lap, though, so will firmly be behind Kim Down as it stands as they enter their way into the slalom. It's now just seen Ted Burke just cross the line to begin his next run. We have, of course, got a sequence of boards making their way around, including Arkadeus Janora, who I think on track might be our leader right now. Of course, he hasn't done his long lap just yet, as Kim Down comes around the final buoy and across the line to now begin his next lap. Obviously, very soon they're going to be conscious of the fact that the white flag will be out shortly to indicate the final lap of running before the checkered flag. There's Peter Poznik, well and truly behind Kim Down at the moment. Let's see if we get any more runners coming through. Just look at the amount of wash coming off the boards at the moment. Some riders taking really obscure lines just to avoid the spray from the boards, causing issues with their own as now Kim Down flies through. There's Peter Poznik, just trying to avoid that wash from the rear jet surface. He's caught up with the number 6 this time of Radcek Luchka and has moved past him. There's Kim Down now coming through the slalom this time around. And we'll have to see where Arkadeus Janora is as well, who's obviously found himself towards the front end of things as of recent. So now we watch them take the final marker, the final buoy, to then begin the next lap. The white flag is indeed out, so this will be the final run. We'll expect to see those long laps being taken as they now enter through the wash and very soon tackle the course towards the bitter end. Now the question is, do we see, and there's plenty of traffic in front of Kim Down at the moment. He's had to slow his board down to an immense degree and now make his way through the slalom. He's got to take that red buoy to the left. Now coming in towards the slalom, there is Peter Poznik. As we now watch them make their way through the slalom, Kim Down hustling his way through. Looks like it's going to be an assured performance here from Kim Down to take yet another incredible victory across the line. And it is Kim Down, your victor, here in Group A of the Masters category. And it'll be Peter Poznik coming home in second, with his arm aloft, obviously delighted with his performance as the checkered flag is indeed raised. Wonderful performance from Kim Down again. He is just absolutely clinical when needed. Of course, went through the heats undefeated last time out at Fujairah GP. Now here in the Turkey GP as well on top. And very much sending his Rocket Racing board to the moon and to potential victory again in the Masters category. And the reigning champion showing us why he is the Masters champion once more. Stunning display as he takes the outside line and will return back to Parc Fermé. And that will close the book on Heat 3 for them. We do, of course, have one more heat to bring you before the end of play. And that will be Group B heading out, and we've just seen Petr Pojnik, well, we've seen David Pojnik now heading the line for our next race. He'll be joined by Kamil Schneider and Petr Faltacek, but a wonderful performance from our race winner, Kim Down. Was able to keep back Petr Pojnik through the course of that last race. Despite Pojnik chasing him through the long lap phase as well, he was hoping that Kim Down would make a mistake. We didn't see much from Arcadeus Ginora towards the bitter end. Unfortunately for Tenzai MotoSurf Racing Team, it's Kim Down, your winner, here in Heat 3 in the Masters Group A, ahead of Petr Pojnik. Yuri Stovacek in third as well, ahead of Radek Luchka, with Yuri Blahar and Ted Burke then further down in 6th. Arcadeus Ginora down in 7th, with Roman Lichel Kratovchil in 8th place, with NG Chio Hong in 9th. Then came Sanat Irus Osman in 10th place, and then Pavel Matoshka in 11th. Then Yoon Jin finishing last of the runners in 12th place. So that's the results from the Masters Heat 3 in Group A. Next up, we will be seeing the Group B runners head out onto the course. Like I said, it's going to be led by David Pojnik, as well as Kamil Schneider, who has been also just as tenacious in recent times as well. Has pulled off some extraordinary performances in his own right. But of course, it's all about Heat 4 and the finals tomorrow. So the mission on every rider's mind is to get a good result here in order to tee up the rest of their weekend in the right way. Sunday will, of course, be quite decisive. But we have some British representation in this field as well, with both a combination of Mark Entwistle and Stuart Oliphant in this. But here are the full runners. We have David Pojnik in first place, along with Kamil Schneider, Petr Faltacek in third, along with Hefe Gasoy, of course, countryman here in Turkey, in Jano Vankersbilk in 5th place for Belgium, and Sebastian Lux in 6th for Germany. Murat Jorgenschieler in 7th place for Turkey. Then comes Stanislav Kinichkin in 8th place as well. Mark Entwistle for Britain in 9th. Nikita Antonov as well in 8th place, ahead of Stuart Oliphant and Erhan Özkan. Of course, we're also representing Turkey, so we've got 3 Turkish runners here in this race in the MotoSurf World Championship to close out today's heats in Heat 3. Obviously, we've seen plenty ever since 8:30 this morning, where we commenced action for the first heats for the junior categories in the boys. Of course, the first time we had the Masters categories out was at nearly 9:45 first thing this morning. And now they're going to be heading out here at 4:45 local time this time. Nearly 10:05 now, in fact, as we're getting set to race again. But David Pojnik in Group B, waiting to head out. He'll be joined by Kamil Schneider and Petr Faltacek in an attempt to score some last-minute points. Of course, David Pojnik embracing the number 11 boat, representing Jet Surf here in this last event that we've got here today on Saturday. And we've got Kamil Schneider as well to keep an eye on as well. Kamil Schneider, who is also a very strong competitor. We'll be looking for a big finish here today. Obviously didn't compete in our previous round back at the UAE. But Petr Faltacek as well, starting in third. Of course, representing Jet Surf as well. Jet Surf well represented here in this class. Of course, Kim Down, the sole Rocket Racing representative here in the Masters class as well. We've just seen him go and storm to victory in our last race. And this is an open category, folks at home. So, of course, the competitors are not limited in terms of the boards that they can use in the Masters. They are allowed individual performance tuning. So both man and board here is going to be put to the test. As now the riders head out and get acclimatized to the waters here at Çeşme in Turkey. The hand now raised here for David Pojnik as he looks to get all the runners lined up together. He will be leading the line through to turn 1. 6 laps and 2 long laps to take. And they stretch through to the final portion of circuit. He's going to be closed up to by Kamil Schneider as well as Peter Valtashek and Efe Gasoy. Just waiting for the rest of them to queue up now. There's the number 3 short of Peter Valtashek just in behind, who was relatively quick as well in our previous outing. Actually had a decent jump, but got held up by the runners in front. Was kind of stuck in the slipstream, or should we say the train of water that was just in behind the riders that led the start of the race in Heat 2. We'll be hoping for a largely different result this time. Obviously still starting with the lead runners in 3rd place, so with as good a chance as any, just needs a decent start. As we all know, they're trying to combat the jump start issue here today. Obviously, if there's anything the marshals don't like, they will of course raise it. Now we see them all line up, getting ready for the start here of this 3rd heat and the final heat of this Saturday. As David Pojnik takes them up towards the line, the marshals just ushering the others forward into position. This looks like a fairly straightforward line. Looks like they're going to have to go again, I think. Yeah, David Pojnik with a nod of the head said, yes, let's go again, boys. So they'll continue around the edge of the circuit layout and then cut back in between before then turning left and then reassemble. They had a few names just disconnected from the back. That would have included Nikita Antonov and also Stuart Oliphant and Erhan Ozkan. Just a little bit disconnected from the front end runners that include Murat Yorkin-Chila and Stanislav Ganichkin and Mark Entwistle just behind. So they just need to make sure that they are aligned with the rest of the field. As now they make their way down the back end of the course. Of course, this will be the area where they meet the end of the slalom before then taking the next lap onto the board. But it's David Pojnik out in front. The others now started to get into positions as well. The marshals once again watching on as they look to get into position in the V. And as they crawl up towards the line, and it looks like they're going to be going round again. So we will get a 3rd restart to this race. Here in Group B, just again not finding the line. They looked out of formation in the back row, to be honest. That was where the main concerns were, and obviously I think the marshals just wanting to get that corrected. They were almost flat, I think, coming into the start, and obviously they don't need to be that flat. They need to be staggered. As we say, we're taking the V formation here in this Masters category. Like in every category we've had so far today. Obviously the only time the line is in effect is with reduced runners and low fields. There's now David Pojnik with his arm aloft once more. 3rd time's a charm. That's what they'll be hoping. They come around the final corner. And obviously this will just add to the nerves as well that these riders are feeling right now, because this can make all the difference in terms of championship points and teeing up, of course, to tomorrow's events. Not just for confidence, but in terms of the actual championship in itself. Now this looks more like it from the runners here. A decent V-shape on offer. Are they going to get going now as they set forward? No, looks like they're going again. So 3rd time is not a charm here this time, and looks like the marshal was just sort of alluding to a little bit of snaking from the runners behind, or maybe even the front runners themselves. So just asking them to get back into formation again. So a 4th attempt now to get off the line. David Pojnik will take them through to the back end of the course. There is our 8th place rider, of course, Stanislav, or should I say Sebastian Lux, just in behind. They're in the number 6 short, who is new in for this round here at Turkey. Obviously coming off the back of the first round back at the UAE. He wasn't part of the runners taking part in that round, so this being his first visit to the championship this season. Of course, qualified 10th fastest out of this group as well, but we'll soon find out as to how he's going to perform here in the third heat to be open for a good start. He's part of this front line as well, as once again they get into a V formation. Let's see if the marshals accept this one. This looks better, I have to say now, as Surf's Up here in Group B, here in the Masters now, in Heat 3 as well. And it looks like, oh my goodness, there looked to be a rider taking a very obscure line there. David Pojnik getting away really strongly though. Kamil Schneider in front. The marshal on hand to certainly take whoever that is, well, just attend to him just in case they need help. But at the moment it's David Pojnik who is out in front and leading the way here in the Masters category. Group B now under full swing, and we've got a big battle over second. As now we see them now coming around the final buoy. It is still the pole sitter, David Pojnik, leading the way. Further back, the number 2 of Kamil Schneider in second. Next up, a phenomenal start from Sebastian Lux, the German, in third now after starting 6 on the grid. He's already gained half the places that he needed. This was the replay. Contact between the runners. My goodness, it came to a shuddering halt, didn't it not? Coming through turn 2 and 3. My goodness. And that, of course, setting the tone as the riders look to whip the tails out on the jet surfboards once again and drift their way around the red buoy now through the yellows. Now we're going to see the first of the long laps taken. Doesn't look like our leader's going to take it. David Pojnik remains out on track. He's going to stick to the course. No plans for the long lap just yet. They will, of course, have an opportunity to do so later on. But an immense battle already unfolding. It is David Pojnik, Kamil Schneider, Sebastian Lux, Efe Gasoy moving up into 4th as well, remaining 4th after he started there with Murat Jorgenschieler, who has moved up from 7th into 5th. He's done a stunning job, that's for sure. There is the number 2 shortsman, Kamil Schneider, coming into this round, obviously not featuring either at our previous round at the UAE at the Fujairah GP. And now racing through the boys, just making sure that he maximises his speed coming through the first sector. Now we'll wait and see whether we do see some long laps. It looks like someone's taken it. Their hand has been raised by the looks of it. Someone entering through the black boys. By the looks of it, a few of them now looking to undertake the long lap, including Kamil Schneider, who I'm guessing is following David Pojnik as well on this first run through the long lap. There's quite a few of them now taking the run over the black boys this time. And now coming back round, they will then cross through the 2 black-rounded boys to then rejoin the course. We'll then later see who is actually leading. There's David Pojnik. Now coming through the slalom. And we'll soon find out as to whether he has taken that long lap, as we're now seeing some of the runners come across the line. There is the number 4 belonging to Efe Gasoy, Sebastian Lux, hitting every apex so far as we now watch our lead runner come around. So David Pojnik just about to cross the line here to begin yet another lap, and indeed taking that long lap has allowed Efe Gasoy to now lead the way. So that is the shorts number 4. That's Kamil Schneider, who we're currently seeing on screen, currently sat. Oh, we've had a rider off now. Hang on a minute. Is that the leader? Or was the leader David Pojnik? Is he in the water? Is that David Pojnik, who has now found himself in the water? This is great news here for Kamil Schneider, who will look to capitalise on this and potentially take the lead away. That's a massive shock, unfortunately, for David Pojnik, if that is the case. Sebastian Lux now about to take the long lap as well. But the second long lap now being taken by Kamil Schneider, who now has a great chance of taking victory now in this Group B session of the Masters Championship. There's Efe Gasoy, who of course has gone a lot longer than everyone else. He's going to be looking to take late long laps in order to maintain this lead result. Of course, he has 2 to take. So no doubt we're going to see him go back-to-back with them. I think he's just hoping for some incidents to creep in. And obviously, if that was David Pojnik making a massive error over the course of that long run, then he will be benefiting immensely off the back of that error from David Pojnik. As now we see the number 2 of Stanislav Koniczkin now crossing the line as well. Coming into second place, Kamil Schneider moving into third, and yes, Pojnik was the one that went off in the water. Sebastian Lux now on the tail of Kamil Schneider as well. 4th place for the German. And there's the 2nd place shorts, and he's got traffic here as well. He's got the number 8 of Stanislav Ganichkin in front of him, moving through past him though this time. So now into 2nd for Kamil Schneider. And there's David Poznak, obviously probably ruining the mistake. That time around, he's now just completed his 2nd long lap. We'll have to see whether it is an issue. There is another rider in the water, and that's a purple jersey. And that's the A category member, Nikita Antonov, who's in the water. As they head through the sequence of corners. Now there's Kamil Schneider peeling through the order now this time. As he looks to cross the line, white flag now to take them through onto the final lap of asking. And it looks like this could be in the hands of Kamil Schneider right now. And yes, he does have the lead after getting past Stanislav Ganichkin on the last lap, managing to do it on the course. He's now in front after the mistake from David Poznak. And it's opened the doors here now for Kamil Schneider. As he now sprints through this next strike, coming through the luminous yellow buoy, now through the red as well, just holding his position. Jano Vankersbilik as well in 2nd place right now, ahead of David Poznak at the moment, who's down in 3rd. Has done well to recover as David Poznak. But Kamil Schneider now making his way through the final few boys so far, and now ushering his way towards the final corner. This time around, he's going to be celebrating, I am sure. Kamil Schneider, a victor here in the final race of asking, here in the Masters Group B, Heat 3 at Çeşme here in Turkey. Fantastic result after the error from David Poznak opened the door to the race lead, and he walked straight through it. So that is victory for him. Fantastic, fantastic effort by Kamil Schneider. And the man embracing short 7, we just see Murat Yorgenschila just cross the line, but it is going to be Kamil Schneider with a phenomenal result coming his way. And you'll be looking, I'm sure, at Heat 4 tomorrow. We take a look at the full results. It's Kamil Schneider with a 1st place visit ahead of Jano Vankersbilik, who started 5th, finished 2nd. Phenomenal performance. David Poznak doing well to recover to 3rd after the incident. Hefe Gasoy on home water in 4th as well. Petr Foltaszek in 5th with Murat Yorgenschila in 6th. Stanislav Ganichkin 7th. Sebastian Lux in 8th. Stuart Oliphant in 9th with Mark Entwistle in 10th. Erhan Ozkan 11th with Nikita Antonov, who came off his board earlier on, in 12th place. So there we are. Those are the heats now completed here today. And now we watch the competitors wind down through the course of the heat so far. A wonderful result for Kamil Schneider to tee up the runs now. But folks, it's been a pleasure having you on board with us here today. Do join us tomorrow for Heat 4 and also all the finals in all the classes. But for now, goodbye.